Welcome to A Friend of Mine, a series of conversations with some incredible and inspiring women in business from regional and rural Australia. I'm Kimberley Furness, your host and the founder and editor of Oak Magazine, and I cannot wait to introduce you to some amazing female entrepreneurs who will share with you their experience and knowledge of what it takes to start, grow and scale a successful business. So let me introduce you to a friend of mine. Kate Marshall took 7 weeks leave from her job as a kindergarten teacher to homeschool her 3 children during the first lockdown. What she didn't expect was to rediscover her love of painting and successfully launch her business from the paint shed. Leading up to this point, Kate was experiencing a stressful time at work, feeling overwhelmed, overworked and undervalued. The short hiatus gave her that much needed time to pause and reflect and dive into painting. Kate has been so successful in selling her artwork, she now works 3 days in the classroom and 2 days in her business. Kate shares with us her business journey, the importance of showing up authentically on social media, the success in sticking to a content plan and setting goals, the positive impact her creative passion is having on herself and her family, and so much more. Meet my friend Kate from the Paint Shed. Welcome, Kate, and thank you so much for being a guest on the podcast.
Oh, I'm so excited. I feel so privileged to be a part of such an amazing podcast program with so many amazing entrepreneurs. I've been listening madly lately. Again, just refreshing all those beautiful stories in all your podcasts so far. You can just listen to them over and over, and it's so inspiring. I'm so pleased that that can be me too.
That is so kind of you to say. I'm so lucky, I think, through Oak to be surrounded by so many amazing women and them being so kind to share it as well, because I know a podcast can be slightly nerve-wracking.
Just a little bit, but that's okay.
Yeah. Now, I mean, through Oak, I've just met so many new friends from Wagga Wagga, which is your hometown.
Yes.
So tell me what's so special about Wagga and give me 3 places I need to visit next time I come up.
Okay. So I grew up in Wagga. I was really lucky to grow up in Wagga. And I suppose as a child, didn't really know any different really. You know, you live in your little bubble as a child. And then I moved away when I went to university. I was then desperate to get out of Wagga when I was 18 and then finished uni. So I'm a teacher. I'm teaching kindergarten at the moment, and I was very fortunate to get a job in Sydney, in a beautiful school in Sydney, met my husband, got married, did all of those things, and then had 2 children and went, hey, okay, we need to focus on where we want to go in life and what we want our life with our children to look like. And so my husband started looking for a business to buy, and we were lucky to buy a business back here in Wagga, and we came back and settled in, and we haven't looked back. We've been back here now for 9 years, and we just love it. So one of the main reasons why we moved back was just for family reasons, bringing children up in the country. I loved growing up in the country. I love the opportunity that the country brings, that slower paced lifestyle, the people, all the sporting opportunities. Well, I've got 3 children and all of them are crazy invested in sport, which sometimes drives me mental, but also I get so much joy out of seeing the joy that they get from the sport. And living in Sydney, we just wouldn't have been able to provide them with that same opportunity. So Wagga it is. I settled into my teaching career here in Wagga and just got on the daily grind of doing what you do. And now I find myself in a place where I'm ready to start moving away from teaching, and I've refound my love of painting, and I couldn't think of a better place to establish a little base in Wagga being an artist. I just love it. So Wagga is such a beautiful place because it's big enough that there's so much opportunity to do things, but it's and that you don't know everybody, but it's small enough that it's still got that country town vibe. It's perfectly located halfway between Sydney and Melbourne, kind of 5 hours either way, 2.5 hours from Canberra. And you kind of can drive half an hour in any direction and find yourself in any gorgeous little town. And there's so many lovely places to visit around here. So yeah, three places that if you were to come to Wagga, you probably want to sink your teeth into and go and visit. There's a gorgeous little coffee shop and restaurant in town that's part of a little network of shops at Cadell Place in Wagga, and it's Mechanico Coffee Shop. I went there just recently with some friends from Sydney, and they just fell in love so quickly. They just loved it. So Mechanico is definitely a place if you want to go for beautiful coffee. And then I'm going to send you just outside of town a little bit. There's some beautiful little stores. If you head to Holbrook, there's some beautiful galleries and homeware stores. If you head to Ganmain, there's the beautiful Fisher and Farmer. Lots of lovely little knick-knacky shops that you can kind of find yourself, go and get a nice coffee and find yourself strolling and just have a nice little day out. And then another place you want to go is the iconic, probably down to the Murrumbidgee River to our Wagga Beach. So Wagga's famous for their beach. We don't actually have a beach. We have a river, but it's a beautiful spot. We have sand. There's sand by the river, but it's just a beautiful spot to go and hang out, I suppose, as you would at the beach if you were on the coast. But it's just a little bit more slower paced, and there's grass and a river and barbecues and parks, and it's a beautiful place to go for a walk or just to hang out with the family. It's just lovely.
See, I am no good at geography, so I would have just assumed that you literally mean a beach with the ocean right at your door.
Can we have the 5 o'clock
terrible.
wave? It's a famous 5 o'clock wave. You go down to the beach at 5 o'clock and the wave comes down the river. No, I'm just joking.
Gosh.
It's called the 5 o'clock wave, but it's not actually a wave.
Terrible at geography and very gullible. Oh, well, look, I'll add them all to my list because until then I just have to sit at home and wait for the borders to open and for you all to welcome us Victorians back with open arms. But I think that might be it might be a little way away. Until then, I will just live through you all through Instagram.
Yes.
And I suppose that's a thing. 2020 has just been so life-changing for so many of us.
Hasn't it?
You know, and including yourself, as you said, you have 3 children, all whom would have needed homeschooling in that first lockdown.
Yeah.
You know, and the fact that you're a kinder teacher as well. Did you stay home with them? And then how that led to you launching your business from the paint shed?
Well, here in Wagga, we were a little bit distanced from the whole start of COVID with Metropolitan, but we knew that there was a real impact coming, and I guess we certainly got to experience that fear factor that came with the unknown of what this is all going to look like. So we were nearing the end of term 1, it would have been, when all of the measures of lockdown and homeschooling sort of started taking place. And I was fortunate to be in a position where I could take leave. So I took leave from school for the last couple of weeks of term 1 for a couple of reasons, to be able to support my children with their homeschooling. I didn't want my children going back and forth to school. I wanted them to just have a sense of normal. Not that homeschooling is normal, but I didn't want them chopping and changing all the time. And then on top of that, I have a business with my husband, and he's incredibly busy, and that started getting quite stressful for us, that unknown and that uncertainty. So I wanted to be in a place where I could be at home, that one, I could support my children and support my husband without the added stress of being at school and doing the homeschooling from a teacher's perspective from school. So I took leave for the last couple of weeks of school, and then that went into the school holidays, and then I was granted being able to work from home for the first couple of weeks of term 2. So in total I was home for 7 weeks, homeschooling or holidays. And I loved it, actually. I actually loved being at home. We live a really crazy busy life, which I also love, but it just came at a really nice time just to catch a breath, to spend some time with the kids. My eldest is in year 6 and he's heading off to high school next year. So it was a really lovely opportunity just to sort of gauge where he is at, and that's me wearing my teacher's hat, gauge where he is at and see what sort of needs he has. My youngest was in kindergarten, so I also wanted to invest a bit of love in there, being a kindergarten teacher myself. And then my middle child, Taylor, she's year 4, and she kind of is independent, and off she goes and loves the whole schooling things. Taylor would go to school on the weekends if you let her. So she's not the problem. The other two I just wanted to spend a little bit of time with and see where they're at. And so that gave me a really lovely chance to do that. Being home then, though, I found I had time that I'd been longing for but not knowing that I was longing for. And so I had time to paint again. I've always been crafty and always enjoyed creative pursuits, and painting is one of those things where it's a little bit hard because you've got so many bits and pieces and leaving it out to dry and those sorts of things, or the time to do it it can get away from you. And being home with COVID, I found that I had the time to start creating, and I did, and shared some pieces that I made on my own personal social pages, and a couple of friends it sparked their interest, and they became curious and wanted to know whether I was selling them. And then before I knew it, I'd had my business launched, and I'd got a business name, and I started an Instagram page and a Facebook page, and started selling paintings online. And it just kind of came as a bit of a blur, but it just sort of happened, and found myself falling on my feet and running with it. And so in that sense, COVID was a bit of a blessing for me because, it gave me a bit of clarity of what I actually want in life.
So was it hard to go back to your day job then?
It was tricky to go back to my day job. Things are different at school at the moment, as you can imagine. We're getting back to being a bit more normal now as the year sort of progresses. But in the early days, when I first went back to school, it was still homeschooling. So it was still working with a very small group of students at school and supporting students at home, and then still supporting my own students. So, that was all very chaotic in its own sense. We gradually found a new normal, but things were different. But as I started doing that, I had this longing to want to be at home and keep painting. I think the therapy of painting for me is something that I didn't realize I actually needed in my life. And so definitely going back to school and getting back into that grind of things, I found myself absolutely yearning to be at home with the paintbrush in hand, and also because I guess I'd started feeling some success. That sort of I really wanted to dive into that a bit deeper. I found wanting to do something for myself and investing time and energy there for something for me and for my family. Actually, being at school meant that I really had to shift my thinking and shift how I tackled life and where I wanted to put my energy into. But with my children at home, they really could start seeing a shift in me as a person, and they became really interested in my painting journey and the changes that it had come about and the reasons why. And I guess I had a bit of an epiphany during that time of the impact that I was having on my children. I'm very motivated and very headstrong and go things 100 miles an hour, but I just found that I wasn't heading in the right direction. That was bringing peace to all of our lives. And starting painting again kind of made me go, hey, like this is a big deal. I need to reinvest my energy in places where it's valuable for all of us.
Yeah. It's amazing just when you do pick up how much they're watching you
Absolutely.
and
Yep.
how much they're taking in of your energy
Mm.
and how you react to things. And
Yeah, it's interesting. I think, like, as a teacher, I think we're very conscious of children feeding off our energy in the classroom. And just listening back to Lil Daly's podcast the other day, she was talking very much about that we bring kids' energy up and bring it down as we need to, and we can lift a room or we can calm a room. And we're very conscious of that in the classroom. And I think when we get home, our families often get the tired version of us and the cranky version of us.
yeah.
And that has an impact as well. And I guess having time to sit and see that makes me think, oh, golly, I'm wasting all of this beautiful time. We really don't have them at home for that long. And I need to be, investing in the right space.
Yeah. So, Kate, have you gone back full time then to teaching? Like, how are you juggling painting and, I suppose your day job?
So for the rest of term 2, I did work full time. In the early stages of me working out where I was heading with the paint shed and what I wanted to do. And by the end of term 2, I had made the decision that it was time to pull back. So from term 3 onwards, I have dropped down to working part-time 3 days a week. And so I spend Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday in the classroom with my beautiful little kinders, and then I'm home on a Thursday, Friday painting or doing things that allow me to then paint more freely in my spare time. So things like catching up on life at home, meeting with amazing people that I've lost connections with, or building new relationships with new businesses, like having time to do that without the chaos of the rest of life. Yeah, Thursdays and Fridays I really long for. In fact, this last school holidays, I couldn't wait to go back to work so that then the kids were back at school on Thursday, Friday, so I could actually spend time doing me things.
Yeah. A weekend's not enough, is it?
No.
Like, it takes a whole day to just wind down, and then Sunday you're sort of getting that anxiety of having to go back to work on a Monday. So,
Absolutely, and you'll feel that too now that your kids are back at school. You'll feel that too, that your week will go back into that grind of weekend, weekday. Yeah, absolutely.
oh, it does. My youngest is at kinder, and that's only 2 days a week. It's a juggle. It's,
It's a real
setting her up
juggle.
with food and TV. And I mean, I'm recording a podcast. Who knows what's happening in the kitchen at the moment and what food will be left?
Oh, I know.
But you do what you have to do, don't you? And
Absolutely.
they learn.
Absolutely. Yeah, I guess one of the biggest struggles I've found with it is that I'm really passionate about the teaching, but I'm also equally passionate about the painting. And it's trying to find
Yeah.
that balance of where to put the energy and where I see my future headed and how I want to invest my future time. I've always been someone that's been passionate about learning new things, and I think at the moment, learning so many new things, owning a business and promoting myself and all the social media and the website things and the building connections. I want to invest so much time in that, but I also have a professional responsibility as well. So, it's trying to find that nice, happy balance and staying sane at the same time and not finding myself loading my plate even more than what it was before.
Yeah. Now, as you just said, there are so many elements of business that you need to pick up. So, building your website, but as you said, social media. I mean, look, I think we all have a love-hate relationship with it at the
Yes.
best of times, to be
Yes.
honest. But we do need it. It is
Absolutely.
a great avenue to, for business exposure. So tell me about Instagram specifically. I suppose Facebook's just one of those things that I don't know what it's
It's
doing
there.
over there at the minute.
Yeah.
It's there, isn't it? You need it.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd invest so much time in it. I'd definitely use it for retargeting ads, but that's probably about it. But Instagram, I mean, gosh, all these new features that they just keep throwing at us. Tell me, how did you start your Instagram journey for your business?
When I first started, I was probably pretty green with Instagram. I was very familiar with Facebook and how the ins and outs of Facebook worked. And I had my own personal Instagram account, but really all I used it for was stalking. Stalking's not the right word, but following other teacher accounts. And so my Insta world at the time before I started painting was all following different teachers who had their own business accounts and were promoting their products and their ideas in the classroom. So it was mainly just for me, I guess, window shopping. And then so to start my own page on Instagram was a bit of a whirlwind. And so I started slow, and it was also kind of a nice safe spot because I didn't have a following of my friends and families at the time. I could kind of just creep slowly to start with, and it felt a little bit safer, if that makes sense, until I felt like I was in a space where I was ready to share with the world more closely about what I was doing. That allowed me that safe space to be able to do that. So to start with, I just created a page and then started my research actually. I dive into things pretty quickly, and I'm happy to have a go at things and then make up my mind along the way how I want things to go. But I was very conscious that, and also very, I guess, wanting to make this work, that I wanted to do it right from the start. So I invested time actually, and I found your Ignite Instagram program quite quickly. And I don't even know how you came across my feed, to be honest. I don't even know how that happened. I found myself there, and then I was like,
I
oh,
don't know either.
I don't know, but you stopped my scroll, and I found myself. It spoke to me at the time, I think, and I thought, right, I can do this. Let's just do this, and we'll have a go. And I guess that opened the door to me going, this is really cool. The steps that I learnt through the program, I was like, this is manageable. I can do this, and it just gave me a framework of getting started and investing some time. It helped me understand all this hashtag business and how that all
Yeah.
works,
Yep.
and timing and scheduling, and I was already a fan of Canva beforehand. I use that with my husband's business, and I also use it for school a little bit too, promoting things at school. And so that wasn't new, but yeah, just finding a few little apps to make life easy and go, hey, this is something that I can do and look professional and really look like I know what I'm doing quite easily.
Yeah. And it's just the basics, isn't it, Kate? Like, as you
Yeah.
said, it was just knowing your hashtags, some scheduling apps to help you out, what time's best to do it, tagging an image to show it to more people instead of things like sales funnels and, oh my gosh, like, I think for me, I want it to be really, as you said, manageable
Mm,
for any type of business owner with, zero experience to come in and pick it up
yeah,
and at least have a chance, to stop someone in their scroll. And that's
absolutely.
exactly what you do for me now. You
Mm,
show up, like your
mm.
face is in my feed all the time. I know that you're experimenting with reels,
Yes,
which is fantastic. And I think the best thing about it is that you're authentically you.
that's
So
exactly
we
what I was
haven't met in
about to say.
person.
Yeah,
We haven't met in person,
no,
but I really do feel that you're exactly who you are if I was to meet you in
yep,
person.
yep, absolutely. And I think
There's no Kate V2.
no, there's not. This is me, and I think that was a big part of me starting too. Is that I wanted to tell the story of me, and this allowed me to do that without any preconceived ideas. I could just start from scratch, and this is me, and go into this business of, if you like me, if you like what I do, great. If you don't, that's okay. I know that I'm not everyone's cup of tea, and that's all right. There's all sorts of different businesses out there and different people and personalities that speak to it. And this journey is about me and being me. And I will take anyone along the ride with me who wants to come. And I'm loving being able to do that. But yeah, being authentic was the big thing, and I think that's something that I wanted to learn through Instagram, is being able to how to show up authentically. You mentioned before being able to tag other businesses, and I didn't want to come across as not knowing what I was doing, or trying to
Yeah. Yep.
piggyback on the back of somebody else's success. I wanted to be able to do it well.
That is such an important point. I don't know how many people, of course, I invite people to tag me in their posts. So tag Oak Magazine to, grab our attention. But it's the ones that abuse it. It's the ones that tag us in something that has absolutely nothing to do. Like there's no synergies between our businesses. So I actually find it happens a lot in Bendigo, to be honest, real estate companies, and they'll be really male dominated. And it's like, you're not piggybacking off my audience here. We don't have a relationship.
You can tell people who do that really well, who do a good job of being authentic and make those connections, and that there's value being added from both sides, and it's not just someone climbing on somebody else's coattails. Yeah,
Yeah, you've just got to know that Instagram is savage some
absolutely.
days. Like, how do you deal with that? So, how do you deal with the self doubt and, looking for that, I suppose, that constant cycle of validation?
Yeah, I think that's one of the biggest struggles, I think, that a lot of us find, and certainly something that I'm very conscious of with my own children, is the whole social media world, and people want to portray a certain vision of themselves out there in the world. And I guess as business owners, we also want to do that, because we're promoting ourselves and we're promoting our business, and we we want people to see all the great things. And people don't want to see all of the bad things all the time or all the negative things. But I guess what I'm conscious of with my business is that I also want to project that I am human, and that I do have struggles, and that's okay. But I'm very conscious of the way that I do that and the place that I do that. So I guess for Instagram, I find in my grid, I'm conscious of painting the picture that I need to paint it, and in my stories when I show up as me and have a bit of a chat, that's where I'm a little bit more raw and a bit more just me, and a little bit left of the business, and it's about me, the person, and not just the business. And I find the more that I do that and show up and just relax into that and being me, I allow the self-doubt to kind of wash away a little bit, because I am just being me. It's definitely there, and I have times when I go, oh, what's going on, and why is that not working, and they look like they're doing this, and especially when you're following like-minded businesses or businesses in the same kind of realm of what you're doing, and you think, I want to be able to be doing that, and how are they doing that? And it's just being patient, I think, with yourself and being gentle and going slowly. It's about knowing where I want to go. And so I think by having goals and having a plan to be able to move forward, when I sit well in that, I find the success comes. It's when I sort of approach the marketing side of my business a little bit more haphazardly that I find the success doesn't come from that. So, so definitely I've started managing my months different. So I go into each month with a focus. So my focus at the moment for the month is promoting commissioned work. Commissions are a big thing at the moment for me. They're rolling in. I've had some success with commissions, so I'm promoting that at the moment in a very gentle way, so I don't feel like I'm selling all of the time. And that allows me to just be focused on what I'm doing. And while other things pop up in my feed and I think, I should be doing that, I should be doing that. And then I have to step back sometimes. I go, no, that's not where my energy is this month. That's not what my goal is. And that just helps me stay a little bit more grounded. And it allows me to sort of map my progress a bit better too, because I've gone in with a plan and I've plotted out my feed and my stories in a way that I want the story to be told, and I can, step back and look at my insights or look at my my progress and go, that's working, that's not working.
That is such a fabulous approach to marketing. And I think it's something that I share in the course with the calendars is, just break it down to the month, have a focus, and just stick to that. It makes life so much easier.
It
And it's
does.
interesting that you say that your focus is commissions this month, because I was just about to say, like, I've really seen, you've branched out into this, I suppose, this area of business where it's not just painting on canvas, but it's going
Mm,
into shops,
absolutely.
and painting these amazing murals. Like, wow.
It's funny. I think when you start putting yourself out there and when you do start believing in yourself, other people feed off that and they see that. So I've had 2 local businesses over the last couple of months, approach me to paint murals within their business. So I've just been the last couple of weeks finishing a business mural at Zali Girl. It's a beautiful little boutique for little girls, and she's got 2 little party rooms that the girls go in there and doll themselves up and spend some time. And it's just such a fun space. And the murals just change that space so much. And it's certainly nothing that I didn't actually plan to go that way. But making connections with business people, and they see you and see how I can add value to their business. And I guess being open to opportunity. And so they asked the question and I said yes. And and it's just working and it's fun and I love it. I love it.
It's awesome. I can't believe how much your business has taken off. So in terms of artwork, do you think people understand the value, so the price? So what goes into that piece, versus that price tag?
That's a really great question. I think that first starts from valuing what you do yourself. Pricing is a really hard thing. and it's something that takes time and something you've got to grow with, I think. I'm at a space now where I've got enough runs on the board that I feel very comfortable with my pricing and how I price my work based off my time and the size and the scale of what I do. And that's come through experimenting, getting feedback from things that are selling and not selling, and just through customer feedback. But for me now, I'm at a space where I know the amount of time it takes for me to produce a piece of work. I value the skill set that I have, and I know that it's a unique quality that I do have that I can create. I'm very conscious about not undervaluing that just because it's easy for me for what I do. Um, and so I guess for me, then projecting that onto my collectors is that they see the belief that I have in myself. I'm very aware that my price points are not for everybody, and that's okay. Um, Sometimes you can be surprised. Sometimes you can go into a commissioned piece, in fact, and somebody wants a certain piece, and it's that awkward time when you put your price out there, and that's that wait time in your messages going, oh, are they going to take this up or are they going to knock it back? And I'm getting better at being okay with that, because it's not that they necessarily not value what I do. They just may not be able to afford what I do, and that's okay too. And I guess it comes back to, if people don't value what I do and they don't like it, that's okay. They don't have to buy it.
Yeah. As you said, pricing is so hard. And even in my first business, I would offer them a discount. So they'd ask how much the service is. So obviously they're committed, they're interested. And I'm like, yeah, well, it's this much, but I can do it for this. So already I'm offering a discount.
Yeah.
And I don't know where that comes from. And I suppose it does tie back into that, valuing your work.
Mm.
And to be honest, if there's anyone out there listening and that's what you're doing, undo it. Stop doing it and, put that price in, because somewhere down the track you are going to either burn yourself out from working too hard for little money.
Absolutely.
And people are going to expect that discounted rate as well. And then you start to get bitter and you think, well, you only paid this much and look what I've done,
Yeah.
So, it's just I think it's a really big learning curve actually of business, and probably thankfully I've had that in that first business that I can learn it in the second and not make those same mistakes.
Yeah, I guess I'm quite fortunate with that too, with my husband being in business too, is that he's all about the bottom line. He knows his
Yep.
numbers, he knows how much it costs to run and have his doors open every day, with paying wages and rent and cost of materials, and he is a big stickler for, I need this minimum margin for things to be profitable. That I've always got that story going in my head. Some days my eyes roll, but because as a creative, money's not the great thing. But I'm getting better at being able to use that same process, because at the end of the day, if this is going to be a profitable thing for me, that's going to allow me to keep stepping away from teaching and still bring in the money so that we can live the comfortable way that we do, I need to make money. So it is the business. It is the business. It's more than just the creating. It's about knowing your money and understanding your financials and being able to do that well. It's being about marketing yourself, knowing who it is that your audience is that you're wanting to market to, and being okay with not marketing to people that you might like to market to. There's always going to be extra people, but yeah, refining who your audience is and doing that well, and then sharing what you do with a passion, in, like we were saying before, in an authentic way. And I think getting all of that balance right, it does make things easier.
It does. Now, you're a member of the Ignite Your Instagram online training course, so the one
Yes.
that we run through Oak.
Mm-hmm.
You've also supported issue 8 in terms of
Yay.
advertising.
Yes.
And can I just say, I truly appreciate your support of my small business. So can you tell me a little bit more about the importance of connecting with like-minded people?
Absolutely. I think I found my whole life, I guess, searching for people that light me up. I am a motivated person, and I look for people who have that same spark, and I'm interested in people's stories and and wanting to know more about what fires them up. And so I guess this business and going solo at the moment, one of the biggest things I'm loving is connecting with other small businesses and people who are on a similar mission, supporting local and supporting small business and female entrepreneurs. It's probably a bit of a buzz thing at the moment, but it's just there's so much value behind it, I think, as women having a voice, and I'm loving being able to connect with other women that share those same value systems. So I guess for me, how I go about searching that, social media allows us to be able to do that so easily these days. I can't imagine what it would have been like before social media days. I guess the connections wouldn't have been there. It would have been a lot more local and a lot more hard work. But yeah, social media allows us, like we said before, you and I have never met face to face, but I feel like I know you so well. And that's all social media that's allowed me to do that. So I guess I'm always on the prowl for Facebook and Instagram pages that really light me up and that speak my language. And I jump on board and follow for a while, and I interact and engage with them. And if I get something back, I know that I'm in the right space. And I know that I'm in the right space when I feel like they're adding value to me as a person, and then more to what I am doing in a way that's not forced. And then I think adding to that, then, but alongside being authentic yourself, is also then just being very generous in your time and generous in your support. It doesn't cost anything on social media to be able to promote somebody and to build another business up and to share all the amazing things that other people are doing. And it doesn't take away from what you're doing. In fact, it probably actually contributes to your energy. I love being able to connect with people like that. And I don't know. I don't really know what else I want to say about it, but it just gives me a really
Oh, I'm
good
just nodding
feeling.
here, Kate, going, yes,
Yeah.
yes, that's exactly how I feel. And wouldn't it be amazing if everyone who owns a business, who has an
Oh,
Instagram
yes.
account, could profile another business once a week? You know, if
Absolutely.
you're posting 7 times a week, can you not dedicate one of those to another business?
Absolutely. Well, you'll be pleased to know that that's actually my month focus for next week, is supporting local.
Oh,
I've got
wow,
this. I've
amazing.
got an incredible giveaway that's launching in November, and it's a whole bunch of local businesses that are donating. And yeah, that's where my energy is for November, is just to promote and support local and small business, because especially during these COVID times, everyone needs that bit of extra love. And
Yep,
it doesn't cost
definitely.
anything to
Oh, it
support
doesn't.
somebody. A
It
like, a
doesn't.
comment, a share. It doesn't cost anything,
Share to your
and
Insta
it goes
stories, if
such a
anything.
absolutely. And it doesn't. It goes a long way. It goes a long way.
Oh, it does.
Yeah.
I have to do a little shout out. Her name is Bron, and she's from Barefoot Events in Gamain.
Mm.
And Bron did something similar a couple of weeks now, just promoted all
Yeah.
these amazing small businesses around that region. And gosh, I found so many little gems,
Yeah,
you
you
know, and
would.
I think that's the other thing, that you find these other businesses that you can support. Sometimes you don't
Absolutely.
know them because you don't see them. So for someone else to give their platform over and say, hey, check out this one, amazing.
Absolutely. And I
So
think that's the beautiful of the product that you produce as well with the magazine, is that it's just exactly that. It's highlighting people that are doing amazing things, and they don't have to be big, enormous, multi-million dollar
no,
corporations. It's all the small things
absolutely
that
not.
add up,
It
that
is.
the beauty of remote and rural. Yeah, it's lovely.
I still come back to that first edition showing a guy, and he looked at it and he goes, oh, wow, like, are you worried that you're going to run out of stories? Like, oh my
No.
God, no.
You'll be pleased to know that the phrase of Oak Magazine is something that even my kids now parrot around the house. Oak Magazine.
Oh,
My 6-year-old the other day, Oak Magazine. He doesn't even know what it is, but it's just something that he talks about, because the stories in it, I think you can connect to so many of the stories at so many different levels, and it just makes you feel like you're part of a community.
exactly. Yes, I'm actually speaking at an online event in a couple of weeks about that that's what I brought up, was community. I wanted to speak
Mm.
about community and the fact that I actually haven't brought out an issue of oak this year. but have still been able to foster and nurture a community, have still seen my Instagram account grow, just through other ways.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I suppose just because I do have people that are so supportive of what we all do. And that's just,
and you're passionate about it too, and people feed
I
off that
am.
energy. Yeah, people feed off that, and it's nice. It's nice to have that inspiration, and to feed off the energy. And Pip Brett from Jumbled, she's a good one for it too. You just, the minute her face is on that feed, it just, you can't not watch. You can't.
I know. I've said it before on podcast episodes, but my gosh, Orange and Wagga Wagga are the two places that I am desperate to visit. But back to you. What is next from the paint shed?
Okay, so next from the paint shed is just to get a momentum going for myself personally. I'm still working out the ins and outs of life, but a big part of that for me is I'm about to start building my paint studio. So it's sitting with the architect at the moment, ready to go to council. So I'm really lucky. I live on 1.5 acres, just on the very edge of Wagga. It's still in Wagga, but it kind of feels like we're out a little bit because we're on acre blocks, and I overlook over the hills. We're up on the hill, and so I've got this beautiful, beautiful space where I can build. I'm going for that barn style. Big windows, because my husband makes windows, big windows to overlook the view and to create a space that not only that I feel inspired to paint in, that I can feel like I can still, I sense, go to work, go to a location that's not just painting in my laundry, which is where I'm currently painting. It's about taking it seriously, having a space that I take seriously. Creating a paint shed or art studio, but along with that is that we also plan to attach accommodation to it as well. So when I start running workshops and events, there's places, if people want to travel, so when you need to come and have some painting lessons, Kimberley, there's somewhere for you to stay. So in that paint shed, it's going to have like a little accommodation, like a little B&B kind of concept to it. So that's what my next 12 to 18 month focus will be. So all of my profit that I'm making from my paintings at the moment is being pumped into a build.
That sounds amazing. Well, it all sounds like it's going onwards and upwards from the paint shed. So finally, to wrap us up, can you tell me about a friend of yours that we all need to know about?
Absolutely. So this is, again, a relationship that I formed starting on Instagram, and I've only met this beautiful woman once. Her name is Beck Nichols from Fig & Co in Bendigo. We've been chatting back and forth for a little while, and on our drive home from Canberra just the other week, I stopped in. She's just opened up this beautiful homeware shop in the main street of Bendigo, and it's in this incredible building with these beautiful stained glass windows, and it's got the most magical feel when you go in there. It just screams local small business. She's got the most beautiful little products from all over the place, and that's a big part of her business mission, I guess, is to support small business and Australian made, and people who have a bit of a side hustle. And you go in there and it's just the most beautiful little shop, and you can now purchase my paintings from there as well. And Fig & Co, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. And I can just, when you come across someone's feed and you just know that this person's got a big future, that they that they've got it right, their formula's right, something's right about it, and I definitely get that feeling with Fig & Co. So that's somewhere where you need to visit, or at least go and hang out on her feed.
Well, I think I already follow it, and
you do.
because of you.
Do.
Yeah, like simply through yourself. I think you had mentioned her in one of your stories. You might have purchased something. I clicked through on the tag on the story and found her, and did a follow, and add that to the list of accounts that I need to engage with and keep an eye on. So thank you for sharing.
You'll love it. You'll love it. No, you're welcome. You're welcome.
Now, I am so grateful for your Insta friendship and your support of the magazine of Oak, and really excited to watch your business grow. So thank you for sharing your story with us. I cannot wait for the opportunity to travel and visit Wagga Wagga. Till then, I'll, no doubt we'll connect online on some events somewhere down the track.
I am sure of that.
Thanks, Kate.
Thanks, Kimberley.
Now, before you take off with all that inspiration and knowledge, we'd love for you to leave a review on our podcast so that we can continue to amplify women's voices in the media. And if you have any questions, we'd like to celebrate a win, you can always connect with us on Facebook and Instagram at Oak Magazine AU. I'm so glad we've met and that now you know a friend of mine.